Infiniti is the new Lexus. I said it, and the new QX80 proves it. I'll include a link to the Infiniti and Murray's website in the description down below. They're providing us with this QX80. Let's get right into it. This week's giveaway highlight is a super low mileage manual Ford GT. If you're interested, use code BHC or click the link in the description down below or in the pinned comment. This will give you 4x bonus entries on any donation, $25 or more. Powering this is a modified GTR engine. It's a twin turbo 3.5 liter V6 that goes through a 9-speed, fuel economy 16 around town, 19 on the highway, with power outputs being 450 horsepower and then 516 pound-feet of torque. We are closing in on 500,000 subscribers. I'd really appreciate it if you'd help out with that. Now the newest QX80 is quite a bit boxier compared to the previous gen, and it has massive lighting elements. I mean, just look at the size of that. The actual headlight cluster is down below, and then you've got a massive grille, and this is a lot more proportionate compared to what you see with the Lexus. So like most of these full-size luxury SUVs, it is big and in your face, but the proportions, they look good. Tire and wheel setup is 275 by 50 by 22. You've got silver and metallic gray on the wheels. Fancy vent piece there on the side. You've got the nice painted mirror caps. Notice the roof is all blacked out on this one. And then down below, we've got side steps. And again, you've got a boxy design, which means we'll have a lot of interior space to look at. But yeah, this is body on frame, independent suspension, front and rear. When it comes to key fob features, we've got our remote start function, lock unlock opening for the hatch, and then you got the Infiniti logo on the back. So this is a random point, but unlike Toyota, you can actually open up the hatch with the car on. Toyotas won't let you use the key fob to open up the hatch. You have to do it with your hand. Kind of a random thing. Now, because this has air suspension, you can raise and lower the back end with those buttons. And then with the seats, you'll note that they fold down and raise up for both rows, which is extremely useful. There is an outlet here on the other side, and it is just one touch. And unlike modern Toyotas, the seats actually fold down pretty darn flat. So this has a Tahoe level of space in the back, which is great. And we'll close it up. Gigantic light bar here on the back end. You got the Infiniti badge there below it. And I do think the back end is probably the best looking part of the QX80. Let's now check out the interior. The interior surely does not disappoint. I love the two-tone coloration. Amazing fit and finish, really nice trim. This sound system, by the way, absolutely rocks. The seats have that same two-tone coloration, perforated all down the center. They've got the adjustments on the side. Legroom in the second row is great. We've got a storage pocket. We also have our own climate zone in the back, heated and ventilated seats for the back passengers. We also have some cup holders here. We have this little screen where you can adjust different items, and yes, we do have seat massagers in the back as well. So there is a lot of luxury built into this. Everything's very user-friendly too. Got some USB ports inside this center console in the second row. There's a little power button on the top of the seat just to move it forward. Now, third row passengers still get a little USB port, recline function, heated seats, and the seats themselves have the same nice trim, and you can very easily fit adults back there because this is a full-size SUV. Let's now check out the front. Blind spot monitoring with the mirrors. Again, more speakers for the sound system. They're all over. You've got memory seats. The mirrors do power fold in. And then again, more beautiful trim. Payload on this is 1466. Towing, I think, is about 8,500 pounds. We'll double check the sticker. Speakers there in the headrest, which is cool. Perforated all down the center. You do have all of your adjustments on the side massage function too. And unlike a lot of the competitors, again, Lexus, Cadillac, all of that, they still have quite a few physical buttons for pretty much everything. Infiniti logo there on the center. I love the stitching here on the airbag cover. Really nice trim all around the steering wheel. Paddles on the back. Practical controls on the front face for like the cruise control. I like this, how you can toggle between controlling that screen or controlling the infotainment screen. Full digital screen here in the center. It's very user-friendly. This is actually one of the best screens when it comes to UI, and it also just shows different bits of information depending on what you want to see. For example, it lets us know that the four-wheel drive system is in auto. The air suspension is not though, but we can easily change that. 360 camera system with fantastic resolution. And then as for the rest of the infotainment system, it is very quick to respond. It's one of the better units out there, and they actually integrated this into the dash, I think, quite well. Last thing to note, this does come with stuff like wireless Apple CarPlay, and it has localized noise where you can take a phone call in the car, still have the music playing for the passenger. From my understanding, that has to be done through the Bluetooth system, not the CarPlay system. Now below we've got our climate control tab. Now this is something that's very different from the Armada sibling, because that has physical buttons, whereas this has a secondary screen. But this is also where you change the drive modes, and it's got haptic feedback, which I actually like with a screen rather than having no feedback, because it lets you know that you've actually, see, like I didn't press it hard enough, so it didn't do the little thing, but it's kind of nice. And I just noticed this actually lets you adjust the suspension manually, whereas the Armada, from my understanding, doesn't. You just have an auto mode, or not in auto mode, but you still get the physical buttons down below, and then also the transmission select with all the buttons. And there's tons of storage throughout, cup holders, phone charging pad in that one, and then a big center console that also doubles as a refrigerator. Very nice trim on that. And then there's more storage underneath the whole center console. Beautiful trim across the dash, camera rear view mirror, and then we've got a very fancy soft touch headliner, panoramic sunroof too. Yep, 8,500 pounds with the towing capacity. Anyways, this one's an Autograph, so it's fully decked out. If you guys want me to review any other packages on the QX80 for this year, let me know, like a Sport or something like that. 117,920. Let's see how this QX80 performs. Let's set off. So we do have double pane windows up front. The second row does not. If you look at pretty much everyone in this segment, most of them have double pane up front, and they typically will not have it in the second row. Like the Escalade doesn't have it in the second row, but some of them do. Like the, I mean, I am going to bring my LX down one day to compare it to this side by side, because I think that'll be a good comparison. But that has double paned all around, and it's crazy this is the same price as an LX, because you're getting the same level of build quality, but in a bigger vehicle. And I will say this sound system's better than what I've got in my Lexus. The one in the Lexus is good, but this just has, it seems like it's, I don't know, it's a bit more clarity. It seems like it's a little bit better. But like any of these modern sound systems, in my opinion, are pretty good. I'm not a huge sound system guy, so I'm probably not the best person to ask on that. Seats are, of course, extremely comfortable. Infiniti is doing a fantastic job with the seat ergonomics. It's one of the few modern seats that not only holds you in place very well, but is actually like just soft. Like they did a really good job with the cushioning, and then with the material use, it feels premium. This is a good seat. Good seat. One of the best seats out there. That is for sure. And the suspension, being independent all around, is extremely smooth. This V6, there's no hybrids, and it's actually probably one of the most simplistic. We're going to turn down here instead. This is probably one of the most simplistic turbo V6s out there for the, you know, that's in a new car, right? You look under the hood and you don't see like a lot of these turbo engines, even the non-hybrids, it's like a bug nest. I mean, you got these hoses crisscrossing all over the place. This thing's pretty simplistic looking. So reliability, right? I mean, I think it's probably going to end up being pretty darn good. Nissan does a good job with their V6 engines. Not perfect, right? But I should say Infiniti, but you know, same manufacturer. But yeah, they've got a pretty good track record with V6s. And this engine can produce a heck of a lot more power, so, than it's producing here. So it's also not like mega stressed out at the same time. I will say one knock, the controls in the steering wheel kind of almost get in the way sometimes. But I'm also probably just not used to holding, but I feel like it's thin enough between like the trim here on the steering wheel to the control that I kind of accidentally hit the controls every so often. Yeah, the ride's comfortable. This is quiet. I had one of these for a week and it was great. I mean, super nice luxury experience. And the thing, again, the build quality is one of the most impressive parts. As an LX owner, I can tell you this is right there with the LX. It is right there in terms of the fit and finish. Even though it doesn't have double pane in the back, the insulation seems like it's just as good. But the independent suspension is so much better than the solid axle I have in the LX. Again, I like the solid axle for off-roading, but you're not going to take this thing off-road, right? This is, if you want the off-road version, right, you go for the Armada Pro 4X. I mean, the V6 is so smooth. Something my wife and I were talking about, because, you know, she just test drove the Armada the other day, and she said that it's one of the smoothest engines she's ever driven. And this has a, you know, slightly souped up version of what's in the Armada that she drove. It's just a very impressive vehicle. So I am going to get some comparisons going on in the near future. I talked to the GM of the store here, and he had some pretty good insight in terms of what people are actually comparing this to. I thought that everyone would be comparing it to Escalade, because that's kind of what Infiniti benchmarked with this. But surprisingly, the people coming in and trading in for this, a lot of Lexus owners. Lexus doesn't even offer like a true full size, right? The LX is the biggest, and it's 200 inches. This is like 210 roughly. And then a lot of German owners, so like BMW X7, Audi Q7, Mercedes GLS, a lot of those getting traded in too. And you know, that's because, again, they don't offer like a big enough vehicle, and so that's part of it, is people just wanting the larger vehicle, but also the build quality. Because you go to the Americans, and the Americans do not, they have the size, and they don't have, but they don't have the build quality. They do not have the build quality. They don't have the luxury that this provides. I mean, Cadillac is probably the best out of all the Americans. Lincoln's up there too. But yeah, the build quality's not there with the Americans, and it just doesn't drive as well. This feels tighter, it's comfortable, and yeah, it just seems like a better rig. So just go and drive one of these. Like, there's plenty of these at the dealership, so go and drive one of these before you go and buy Lexus, any of the German luxury cars, any of the full-size American. And I think that some of you will be pleasantly surprised with how nice this drives.